right, here we are, episode 127, another episode of On the Delo. And guess what? I have my friend Jordan. Are you excited?
Very excited, yes.
So Jordan has been on my Connect and Protect program, but this is your first podcast with me. And we have a lot to talk about. A lot of cool stuff.
Yep.
So part of what we want to talk about is a little bit of your background and just, I want the audience to know a little bit about you and how you started in your field and some of your accomplishments before your latest company, DashTrack.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so development for me started very early. So my dad, who's a Major League Baseball coach for 30 years or so, and when I was about 11, 12 years old, it was quite a while ago, and if you remember back to that time, so almost about 30 years ago, back then, not everybody had a computer, and so that was something I'd seen, and I just really wanted one. So my parents had a little home mail order business, and that was so long ago that they kept on talking about how they wanted and needed a website. But back then, there were no website builders. There was nothing like that. So I wanted a computer so bad. I told them I would build them a website if they bought me a computer, and they did, and I just kind of figured out, I went through a bunch of books and manuals and built the ugliest website you could ever imagine when I was 12. But that was just the start of it. I built them out, and then, they had a friend who had a business, and so I started building a website for him, and just kind of grew from that point. And so by the time I was in my 18, 19 years old, that was literally all I was doing.
That's crazy.
Yes.
So backspace, parentheses, semicolon, that is what was the programming, right?
It was mainly just, back then it was just kind of pure HTML. So the sites, just were super ugly, just a bunch of tables and frames and very little styling. And then after that, started getting into languages like PHP and those, which all of a sudden you could start doing things like having forms on the website, and you could start doing ordering and those kinds of things directly on it. So that was kind of the beginning of it.
What's this, 87 probably? 85?
No, it was a little bit more. It was more mid 90s.
Oh, mid 90s. Okay. Yep. God, it's hard to believe. I always think the mid 90s were yesterday.
Not quite. Yep. No, not quite. It was, I want to say, thinking back around then, that would have been around 93, 94 or so. Okay. And by the early 2000s, when the tech boom was really starting, that's when I started getting really into it. So I moved out to California, and I started another technology company, and that was the first one where we raised money for it and built it out. And so I've been really fortunate. I was able to do things like I worked for Eventbrite as a developer. I worked for a place like Yahoo China, where I'd go out to Beijing and Shanghai and work as a developer there for some time, and all of that was kind of that was all the development side of things. And then when, I'm not sure if you remember, I was very fortunate to find a platform called Udemy in the very early stages. And they barely had any courses or anything. And I was like, I can teach people how to code and stuff right on this platform. I just built out some courses and kind of forgot about it, because I built them out, published them, didn't get any real sales or anything, and so I just kind of forgot about it. And then about 6-8 months later, all of a sudden I look at my bank account, and all of a sudden I got this like big deposit out of nowhere. And I guess it was when Udemy when they got funding, they started pushing the courses that they had out, which so I was one of the really early development teachers on there, and now I've had like over 250,000 people buy and go through the courses on there. That kind of was what started everything on the teaching development side for me. So that started growing very rapidly, where that kind of became the main thing that I was doing for a number of years. I ended up using those courses and that material. I built out my own learning management system called DevCamp, and we sold that to a university up in Salt Lake City, Bottega University, a number of years ago, and I stayed on as the CTO of the university, and they actually took the platform and all of the content, built it into their own technology training system, and that's what gave me the money to actually start DashTrack.
Wow. Okay. So you're a robot, right? I mean, it's just crazy, dude. Like, here's my. That's my robot sound. Okay, so wow. Okay, I mean, just mind blowing. If you people are listening, like this man has like completely revolutionized a lot of things having to do with programming, writing courses. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing when you just hear it, and I've known you for a while. So this is exciting. So you start DashTrack. You know that you want to get into, let's just say, a niche or a funnel, being hospitality. What was the antithesis for you to say hospitality?
So that all started was because of the way that I was a very non-traditional student on the educational side. So I was homeschooled because of my dad being a baseball coach. We couldn't be in school or anything, so I was homeschooled I still never attended any public school my entire life. So I was homeschooled since the time I was 5, and my mom was a very aggressive mom on the academic side of things. So by the time I was 12, I'd actually finished all school through high school. And so I started my university. I started going to Rio Salado here, the junior college. Started attending there when I was 12. And I started working so early that I didn't finish like my degrees or anything. So when I kind of started getting some time in my late 20s, I went back, finished my bachelor's in computer science, and then also started at Texas Tech and was working through my grad school to get my master's and that kind of stuff. I could not for the life of me find a thesis project that excited me, because I'd been, most of the other students I was with, one, they're a lot younger than me. They're all in their early 20s. I was in my late 20s, and they were all building things, and I just thought they were really boring because I'd been building that kind of stuff for a decade, and none of it like really kept my attention or got me excited about it. And then I had one of my really good friends, still one of my best friends, Mike Cheatham, is the owner of Scapegoat Beer and Wine here in Old Town Scottsdale. And one day I was just going through a bunch of stuff at the bar, just a bunch of my books and grad school stuff, and Mike was working on the Scapegoat website. And he was just getting upset about how long it was taking to update, what a pain it was, how there was like no kind of platform that had real support that was specific to bars and restaurants and the kinds of things they needed. And then it's like, well, what if I were to build a platform that was specific to bars and restaurants and hospitality, and that's what started all of it. So DashTrack actually started as my master's thesis project, and then, that's all it was going to be for,
Right.
it was just going to be that, and I was going to move on. But then, Mike started kind of sharing it with some of his friends. That's when we also met you, and we started kind of branching out. And after a few years now, what's been six or 7 years now, we're over 250 restaurants around the country and hundreds of websites and all of that kind of thing. So now it's my main thing.
Yeah. So when you talk about all that, and 6-7 years has gone by pretty fast. Can you give an insight to people listening? And I'm probably going to even use this. I came up with an idea while even thinking about this. Probably even use this for my course to run snippets. So, Diddy, take note of this. And yee, that's what me and Diddy do. We go yee. So, anyways. Can you tell me your perspective of networking and how you networked to get basically where you're at today, why you networked, and then what was your follow through with, let's just say, certain clients that you got to transform that into other clients?
Absolutely, yeah. For us, networking has been everything when it comes to how we've grown the business. So we have never done any advertising. We've never done any marketing or anything like that internally. It's been 100% referrals and networking. So the way that we've done it is we've partnered with people like you and like Melissa, Eat Drink AZ, and we have other partners like that around the country. Like we have Review Brew and some of these in Florida and Chicago and these spots. And so we essentially kind of found and partnered with people who were already working in the same exact industry, just in different services. So for
Right.
you, insurance and all of the other things that you do, Melissa, the social media marketing. So we found people who were not our competitors, but they were in the same exact space, going after or already had all of the same customers that we're looking at. And then from there, we really spent a lot of time on building out tools to make sure that those clients would be very well taken care of. So everything we do is support related, and making sure that no matter what somebody even if they've never had this kind of support or anything, which is a really common thing that we hear, that they get that from us. And so that makes it really easy for people like you or Melissa to feel comfortable that, if we send somebody over to DashTrack, they're going to be taken care of, initially, but also even more importantly, after it's live, and they're going to have the kind of support and, that kind of thing that's needed. So yeah, networking's been absolutely everything for us when it comes to growing the business.
Yeah, so you're growing it within partners that, like you said, are within the same industry but not competitors, and that totally makes sense. And I've done the same thing over the years with all that. Now, when you transition to now becoming a successful company, 200 plus websites and growing, and service to do on top of that, and now more demands because you're being more well known, getting more leads from people like myself and say Melissa, how perfect of timing is it that AI has now come into effect? And maybe you can tell everybody, because I'm just a big dummy, and not so much in a technical way, but maybe just kind of a very innocent and overlapping, let's just say 30,000 foot kind of perspective of what is AI? How did it just all of a sudden, according to my eyes and ears and a lot of other people, just all of a sudden come into play? And how fast is this thing growing in the aspect of year after year. And I'm sure now it's helping your business immensely, and you've implemented that into your websites and how you do things.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, AI has been something. It was actually one of the big topics of research I studied in grad school. So I've spent a lot of time in this for 10 plus years, and AI as we know it now is obviously, like you said, it's changed. It seems to have come out of nowhere in the last couple of years, but what a lot of people don't realize is the key fundamentals that these tools like ChatGPT and everything now that you see is AI based, the key tools have actually been there for a very long time. What ChatGPT came up with, and if you go through and you listen to some of their interviews on how they evolved for years, people kind of considered them a failure. They built out so many different tools and things like that, OpenAI did, that went really nowhere. And it wasn't until they came up with ChatGPT that everything started to explode. And the really interesting thing is what ChatGPT really figured out was a way of being able to give a user the ability to type something and have the system actually understand what it is. So at its what broke it out was its natural language processing system. That's what nobody had figured out until that point. All of the actual things like the data classification and all of those had all been there for a very long time. They didn't build that out from scratch. And in fact, the name, everyone associates the name ChatGPT with OpenAI and the ChatGPT product, but GPT is actually like the family. It's like the core foundation that a ton of AI tools are built on. So that's more of like the family of AI that everything sits on top of. So a bunch of like their other competitors, they're building on top of like this GPT platform.
So hold on, is ChatGPT a company?
ChatGPT is a product, but GPT is actually like a core AI tool set, essentially.
Okay.
And so for years and years, like before anyone had heard of ChatGPT or OpenAI or anything, you could go to, say, Amazon, to AWS. They had a full set of a lot of these various AI kind of tool sets that you could build on top of. But nobody had figured out how to take, a user typing, build me XYZ or write this blog post or anything like that. Nobody had figured out a way of being able to take that input, have it understand the user's intent, what they really wanted, and then connect that to all of that, data and all that knowledge underneath it. And so that's what they really figured out. As soon as they figured it out, that's when everybody else started being like, oh, that's how we do it.
So is OpenAI the same as like ChatGPT? They're just different.
OpenAI owns the product ChatGPT. Yes.
Okay, so OpenAI is making, let's just say, a ton of money right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why they switched from a nonprofit to a profit.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay. It started to make a little bit of sense because I think most people, like myself, just say, oh, ChatGPT, and we just assume that it's like robots doing Google searches, figuring stuff out based on our intent, and then making, my kids' term papers. I'm sure Anna's probably writing her term papers with ChatGPT right now. Way to go, Anna. But kind of makes a little bit more sense now, I think, when you put it from that perspective. And so this is only going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. And as I talk, today, starting our courses that I'll be, selling, we talk about compounding interest. This is compounding like 10 times, I would assume, than where it came 10 years ago.
Each version has been dramatically more intelligent and more helpful.
Yeah.
This latest one, as we're filming this, the current one is the 4.0 version.
Right.
And we've noticed just across the board huge improvements in regard to the quality of what can be generated and that kind of thing. So for us, we've built in AI extensively into our own platform. We now actually have our own dedicated AI server. It doesn't just communicate with ChatGPT, because that's the other thing. So everyone thinks of, or for the most part, most people think of ChatGPT as the place I go where I, type something in.
Kind of like Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What OpenAI has, it also, though, is they've built a programmatic way of being able to talk to their engine. So our servers will actually communicate with it at a code level. So, just take a very basic use case. So, building out a site and say a client wants to have, like what we're building out for you right now for the landing page.
Yeah.
We will feed in all of your content. So your website content, your reviews, your products, your services, everything like that. We feed all of that in so that you can go into one of the pages, be like, oh, I want a new page about this new product I'm wanting. If you went into ChatGPT, you'd have to go and paste in everything about your business, all of those kinds of things. Because we're already doing that in the back end, you can simply go and type just a few words, and it will already know everything else about you.
And it'll build it out inside your own page.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
And even the latter is still light years ahead of what people were doing before.
Yep.
Because they were basically, whittling on tablets to get, what I'm saying, websites done. I mean, this is incredible. So I assume this is huge for your business because you're, a lot about it just based on your background and your knowledge, but to be able to implement this, and especially in the field of, hospitality, and we're working on a couple other projects as well, but for this context for hospitality, they've never seen this before. So you give a website to a hospitality platform with, OpenAI stuff on it, and they're able to just like change or blog or do all that stuff. That's huge.
Yes, absolutely. And it helps do a lot of things that used to take a ridiculous amount of time. So doing things like writing blog articles and those kinds of things. I mean, if somebody actually did it consistently, which very few ever did, that was something that would take at least, one day out of the week to do all of the writing, the outlining, the preparation, like all of that kind of thing. And now they can simply go in, type in a few keywords on, what they want to have generated, and the whole thing's built out for them. And so it takes, an entire day worth of time that, gets, optimized, and now took 5 minutes.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Where, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but just based on the things that you're seeing and what's happening, when, if ever, does this get a little weird?
It's almost to that point, I think. So where it's going to get really weird is probably within the next 2-3 years or so. A lot of the people who specialize in this kind of thing, they're saying like at least by 2030, it's going to hit this point, which is called the AGI point. And so like right now, the level of ChatGPT and these various AI engines, they're kind of at a level of being very intelligent. They're like your very smartest friend that's like always available. Almost to
unless the power's off.
Yes, almost to. We're not quite, and they do these kinds of like actual like IQ tests and that kind of thing on the systems. Yeah, they're they're passing with, top marks for passing the bar exam, for passing the whatever doctors get get there, like it's passing all of those. It's our this latest version was able to get to pass every single thing for the Google coding interview. So it's like your very, very smartest friend. Over the next 2 years, it's going to expand to where it's going to be more like an Einstein or something in that range. But what most people are predicting is by like 2030, it's going to hit what's called the AGI level. That's the superhuman. That's where it's actually going to supposedly, if everything continues to go like it is, it's going to reach the point where it's going to be smarter than any human's ever been.
Will it have emotion?
No. Some people theorize it, but there's no actual evidence of anything of any kind of of reaching how it could achieve that. It could mimic it if it, because it knows all about emotions.
So let's, because I always like to keep things always positive. So based on your mind and let's just say you're a fairy with positive dust, right? Actually, I have positive spray right here. Diddy, come over here. I have the Divine Within positive spray. You smell that? This is from our friends Lotus Way. I like to spray this. Okay, so to refocus here and talk about the positivity of AI and the possibility, and we're talking like 2030 here.
Yep.
We're talking about a lot of jobs that people are going to lose because this stuff's going to be able to do it in no time. You even look at acting and having, the need for background actors. That's gone. Totally done. The need, the way to do movies now. Even duplicating some of the artists out there. And whether people think that's good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. It's a reality of what we see coming. Yep. But what's the positive effect that this could have? Could this, because I heard this on another big podcast, big man podcast, I won't name any names, you guys figure it out, that if you just gave people $200,000 a year as opposed to wasting it on all the BS that we wasted on, and just let them live a great life and let AI just kind of do all the hard work and all this, other stuff, everybody could have, everybody could be cool.
Yeah, in the utopian perspective, every, AI would essentially take over all jobs, and then people just get to live their lives, however they want. I don't really subscribe to that, because I think life's a little more complex than there's too many people that are going to want to do other things.
Fight for control.
Yeah. 100%. So I don't really think of it that way, but I look at it more. I actually do take a positive perspective on it, but just in a different way. I look at it more similar to the way the effect that the Industrial Revolution had on on the world, and that. People back then said the exact same things. They were like, this is going to destroy all of these other, these other jobs that people have been doing for hundreds of years because it's doing all this automation. It's got to get rid of it. Every major technological event in the entire history of the world has created more opportunity and more jobs. We've never had one, even the ones that people thought were going to, decimate jobs in the workforce. They didn't. They never have. And so I don't really see how this would be any different. Just because we haven't completely been able to think through exactly what that's going to look like. I think that it's simply going to change things. And so it's going to automate a lot of things that, maybe people are doing manually right now. But I think it's just going to open up more opportunity and create more jobs and more, ability to do things. It might be, take, for example, the fact that you don't have anywhere near as many fighter pilots anymore. But now you have more drone operators.
It's crazy.
So they're flying, the fighter jets from the ground. One, you have more of them.
Yeah.
It's easier to do.
Kill people. Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
it's safe. Well, yeah, that's a whole different topic. But we definitely have way fewer Air Force pilots dying than we did 30, 40 years ago. So that's just one example, but of something that's like, oh, well, that's going to take jobs away. It's like, no, actually, there are more pilots now than there ever were. So I think it's going to give more opportunity. It's going to essentially give what computers started promising. So the father of AI, as a guy named, well, if you believe this part of history, is a guy named John McCarthy back in 1956. All the things we're talking about now, he promised back then.
No kidding.
Yes, so he promised that, and this is when computers were doing things like punch cards, and is like, this is going to make it so that people, this is modern way of what he said, this is going to make it so people won't have to do the daily BS. They're not going to have to do all the busy work, like all of that kind of thing. That's what computers have been promising for 70 years, but never started to live up to it until now.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely create a better way of life for everybody, as long as it's in the right hands and people do the right stuff with
Absolutely.
it. So that's interesting that there's a father of AI. I guess you would call him Darth Vader. Darth Vader. Get it? Yeah. You don't even. Whatever. This is a tough crowd here. Okay. Here. There we go. Got my jokes. All right. This is awesome. This is really cool. This is a great perspective. I think it's a good little morsel for people to chew on and do. I want to ask you a few rapid fire questions.
Yep.
These are very serious, so hopefully you can handle them. Okay. Who is smarter, R2-D2 or C-3PO?
I personally think R2-D2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Even though C-3PO is very by 10,000 languages and.
Well, yeah, but I think that if you take C-3PO, he's not going to be able to help fly, be a co-pilot or anything like that on any of the planes. C-3PO also, he wasn't anywhere near as much help in navigating through, any of the tough spots that Luke or anybody took him into. If I'm going to choose who's my smarter buddy, I'm taking him.
Awesome. Did you all follow that? I hope so. Okay. Metallica or Van Halen?
I'm going to. It may be more of an age thing, but I'm going to go Metallica.
Okay. Yeah. You're a little bit younger than me. You're like early 40s or early 50s. That makes sense. How much sleep do you get in a week?
Not much.
Will that change with AI?
That's the goal. Okay, yeah.
See, there's a positive effect of AI. It's going to get him some sleep here. That's funny. Okay, barbecue or pizza?
Oh, definitely barbecue.
You like barbecue, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite place to say visit? So everybody knows Jordan's a pilot, too. He's got his pilot's license. He flies around. What's the last place that you flew to?
San Diego.
Okay, yeah. San Diego. The whales, you know what.
Yep.
Okay, so what's your favorite place to go? And
Sedona, probably. Yeah, so a lot of people don't even know Sedona has one of the coolest little airports. They have a airport that actually sits on top of one of the buttes
I've
up
seen
there.
That, yeah.
Yep, and they have a really fun little restaurant right next to the runway, so you can land, just hop out and go to this restaurant. It has gorgeous views of the entire Red Rock. And because of where it sits, you can even see like Flagstaff. And,
oh wow!
It's actually, when you're up in the air and you're flying over, it's really crazy because even though you may only be like 1,000 feet above the ground or so, it looks like Flagstaff's right there.
Yeah.
It looks like you just hop out and go to it. So you can see all the views of that. One, it's cool because like if you take off from Scottsdale, you're almost like, it feels like you just get up in the air, and then it's
there.
about time to start going down for your landing in
That's
Sedona.
crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and so that's probably one of my favorites, just because it's beautiful. Everyone loves when I take
Sedona,
friends.
right.
Yeah, and so it's just cool. They also have a little hotel just up on the butte. So I've had times where I've taken little trips to Sedona and never left like the airport, really.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Diddy would like to fly with you when you're on no sleep.
Oh yeah. No, that's actually a horrible idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's coded.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Would you rather have a 3-hour dinner, or would you rather just grab your food and go?
That 100% depends on if I'm working.
Okay.
So.
Which is always.
Yeah. So no. I probably, well, this week, for example, I worked from Monday till Wednesday night straight, and I think I might add 2 meals during that time period. Some they were just super quick, eating while I was working, that kind of thing. But if I'm actually enjoying myself, then the 3-hour dinner for sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah, exactly.
You are a robot. All right. Where can everybody find you? And I'll put in show notes where to get a hold of you or whatever. But if you were to just talk to people right now, which you are, what can they do to find you?
I mean, the website with DashTrack.com is probably the best spot, and then as far as anything on social media, Get DashTrack is our Instagram, and that's probably the best spot.
Yeah, and you're opening a bar soon too.
Yep. Industry standard.
Yeah.
They're right next to a bunch of our clients and friends on Roosevelt Row.
That's right.
And
I couldn't talk you out of it. I did 13. I was like, let's get into the business. Woo. It'll be successful. It'll be a lot of fun. It's a good area.
Yep.
Yeah. Super excited for all the stuff that we have in the future. This will be a good time. Hopefully everybody learned a little bit about AI and they're not too scared and they're positive about it. So thank you everybody for listening. Please, and thanks for coming, Jordan. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please leave us a 5-star, share the podcast if you got some value out of it. Check out our YouTube and you'll see everything in show notes. And until next time, peace out.